Thanks for watching Red Hunt, where you never know what kind of chaos is coming next. I am a 55-year-old female and I have a grandson named Johnny, who will be 15 this year. When Johnny was born, my son Jack and his wife Jill lived with me. They divorced when Johnny was about 2.5 years old. After the divorce, Jack had regular visitation and would pick Johnny up every other weekend. Jack worked a second shift job, so I would pick Johnny up from Jill on Fridays and Jack would pick him up on Saturdays. Jill often created difficulties regarding visitation. She would not allow the 2 weeks of summer visitation that was permitted according to the state guidelines, nor would she allow any extra time under any circumstances. We alternated holidays, but the arrangements were always based on what Jill wanted rather than what the rules stated. A few years after the divorce, Jack started using drugs and became addicted. When I discovered this, I decided that Johnny would stay with me during his visits and Jack had to come to my house to see him. I never allowed Jack to have unsupervised visits or to take Johnny anywhere alone. This arrangement continued for about 6 years until Jack passed away. After Jack's death, Jill informed me that she would continue to allow Johnny to see me and that nothing would change. Unfortunately, she was not truthful. She had her husband adopt Johnny. After the adoption was finalized, she informed me that Johnny could no longer stay overnight with me on Saturdays because she wanted him to go to church with their family. Although I was unhappy, I did not protest and accepted the situation. This lasted about a year. Then, she decided that he could not stay overnight at all due to the presence of a registered offender in my neighborhood, which she claimed made it unsafe for Johnny to stay with me. Consequently, I was only seeing Johnny for about 2 to 4 hours every other Friday. Although I was not happy about this change, I did not confront her. Eventually, my visits dwindled to once a month for a couple of hours. Johnny was my first grandchild, and we had a very close relationship. It hurt deeply when Jill began limiting my time with him after my son's death. Feeling that I needed to take action, I hired an attorney to pursue grandparents' rights. Unfortunately, I learned that I could not obtain those rights because I had supposedly been sent a letter regarding the need to respond within 30 days, but I never received it since it was delivered while I was on vacation in another state. As a result, I lost any rights I had. When I filed for grandparents' rights and Jill received the paperwork, she reacted very negatively. I have not seen Johnny in almost 4 years and it tears me up inside. I miss him terribly. Jill admits that I am a good grandmother and recognizes that I love him and would never let anything happen to him. However, she claims that I disrespected her by filing for grandparents' rights. So, was I in the wrong for trying to keep my grandson in my life? Was it disrespectful of me to file for those rights? You have some responsibility here. I mean, it seems like you're feeling some type of way, and honestly, pride is really messing with your relationship with your grandson's mom. Sure, you care about him, but it feels like you're holding onto past grievances more than anything else. You mentioned state visitation guidelines, but those aren't the same as a court-ordered custody agreement. If you had that, why not mention it? Saying just like every other neighborhood about safety concerns doesn't really hold up. It sounds more like frustration than a valid point. Just because you were allowed some visitation doesn't mean you should expect it to stay the same forever, especially after your son's passing. Your grandson is a teenager now, busy with friends and school. Have you checked in with him directly? Blaming everything on his mom while ignoring what he wants isn't the way to go. You had some time with him, but wanting more and then taking legal steps has probably hurt your chances of having a good relationship. Aita for using a fake account to call out my second cousin over $20 memorial shirts. Recently, one of my cousins passed away. I will be using the name A for her. We started planning A's funeral pretty quickly, which is set for this Friday. That is when my second cousin, let's call her T, decided to post on social media asking who wanted a memorial shirt for A. Everyone who wanted one had to pay $20 up front. We were all under the impression we would be wearing them to the funeral. On Monday, T made another post stating that the shirts were not to be worn to the funeral. She mentioned she would hand them out after the service so we could wear them when we go out to eat afterward. After that, people in the family started contacting each other. Many of us were confused and frustrated. We paid $20 for a shirt we cannot even wear to the one event it was made for. That is when I left a comment on her post using a fake account to avoid escalating the situation. I expressed that T is not immediate family to A, so it seemed inappropriate for her to be making rules. I stated that if people want to wear these shirts to the funeral, they should be able to. These are not just basic shirts, we bought them specifically for that day. If T did not want us to wear them, she should have communicated that from the beginning so we could have made other arrangements. T replied saying, "A funeral is formal, you wear formal things, that is fair." However, the rest of the family wants to wear the shirts and it is not disrespectful. What feels disrespectful is trying to control what people wear to their own family member's funeral. It is not a fancy church service, it is going to be casual. Some family members who were upset told her, "You can give us our money back and come to the funeral, or give us our money back and not come to the funeral. Either way, we want our money back. We are not going to be told we cannot wear something we bought for this exact reason. So, am I in the wrong for calling her out and wanting to wear the shirt to my cousin's funeral?" I know making a fake account and commenting was not the most mature move. I am an angry 18-year-old, so please understand. I was simply expressing what everyone else was already thinking. The shirts were never presented as just for after, and it feels controlling to change the plans last minute and dictate how people should grieve. It seems like there might have been a simple miscommunication here. I mean, if so many family members wanted to wear those shirts, an elder could have stepped in to clear things up. The whole fake account thing just feels like overkill, you know. People usually have a good idea of who is behind comments. Honestly, it makes sense that T might have switched gears if someone from A's family asked for more formal attire. If T was just trying to scam, she wouldn't have even offered to hand out the shirts at the service. Not every funeral needs to be super formal, many actually allow for memorial shirts. Your approach was a bit petty though. Next time, it might be better to just talk about it directly instead of hiding behind a fake account. Just keep it straightforward. Communication can really clear things up. Aita for confronting my partner's sibling. I am a 21-year-old female and my boyfriend is a 21-year-old male. We have been together for a year. Since the moment I met his sister, who is 24 years old, she seemed uninterested in getting to know me. I first met her a few months before I met the rest of my boyfriend's family since we attended the same university. I initially thought she might just be busy, but when I met his entire family for the first time, she was quite rude. She constantly interrupted me whenever I tried to speak and made snarky comments when I answered his parents' questions. Each time I visited, the situation was similar. I would attempt to engage her in conversation and ask how she was doing, only to be ignored or looked at as if I were unworthy. Despite this, I continued to be kind to her. One day, I made her chocolate chip cookies. When I offered her one, she took a bite, spat it into her hand, and threw the rest away right in front of me, stating that something tasting that bad deserved to go in the trash. I asked my boyfriend to talk to her, but he said it was not his place to intervene. A few months later, I learned from a mutual friend that she was telling others how pathetic she thought I was. She expressed that she hated me and wished I had never been born. Later that week, my boyfriend informed me he could not call that night because he was going out dancing with his sister. I later discovered they attended a singles night dance where she attempted to pass him off as single to other girls. I was shocked. My boyfriend assured me it was not a big deal, but I felt it was an attack on me, reinforcing my belief that she had something against me. Consequently, I decided to confront her. When I approached her, I mentioned the comments our friends had shared, including her wishing I had never been born, as well as the singles night incident. She told me to grow up and forget about it, accusing me of being immature. She admitted to saying the things our friends had relayed and insisted it was not a big deal. When I asked her why she felt that way, she claimed she never said those things. She suggested that I was insecure and was fabricating stories to turn people against her. When I tried to clarify that was not my intention, she blocked me. My boyfriend later informed me that she had shared the details of our conversation with their entire family, and they were now taking sides. He said it had created an awkward atmosphere at home, and he felt unsure about what to do. He told me I had been out of line and had acted inappropriately toward her. However, I do not believe I was attacking her. After weeks of limited communication, he expressed a desire to meet up and discuss the situation. So was I in the wrong? Welp, you're not the problem here. Honestly, this guy just isn't worth your time. If he can't stand up for you against his sister, he's not going to do it in the future, you know. His vibe. It really shows he won't have your back when it counts. You deserve someone who supports you, not someone who lets their family trash you. I mean the silent treatment. That's not normal, it's a red flag. There are plenty of guys out there who will treat you right and truly appreciate you. It's much better to move on than to deal with all this drama. Let him and his sister figure out their issues while you focus on finding someone better. You've got this. Aitah for calling my best friend delusional. I have a best friend who has grown increasingly obsessed with a woman he barely knows. They met around 6 months ago and have been texting sporadically since then, with long exchanges followed by weeks of silence. They live in different countries, and while their conversations have become quite deep, he still does not know basic things about her, such as her favorite food, music, color, or religion. Despite this lack of knowledge, he has become fixated on the idea of her and recently expressed a desire to marry her, stating that he has never felt this way about anyone before. While I should be happy for him, my concern is that he does not even know if she is interested in him. They have never discussed dating or whether they like each other, and he does not know if she is single. Additionally, their communication is sporadic, with long delays mostly coming from her side, which makes me question her level of interest. My main issue is that my best friend has given up on dating altogether and is not open to the possibility of finding someone else. I am worried that he is investing all of his hopes in a situation that may not be real. I believe that idealizing someone to this extent is unhealthy and that his world seems to revolve around the concept of her. I feel he would drop everything for her without hesitation. We have had disagreements about this before, but yesterday things escalated. He began expressing his feelings for her poetically, and I inadvertently said he was being delusional. He became understandably upset and accused me of not being supportive and of being jealous because I am no longer as important to him. I tried to explain that I think his obsession is unhealthy and that he should assess whether she is even interested before imagining a future with her. He insisted that he can tell she is interested. We argued for about 10 to 20 minutes, and he stated that he does not want to be friends with me unless I support his feelings for her without expressing my concerns. I told him I could not do that, as I do not want to encourage his unrealistic views. He then said, "Well, then I don't want to be friends," and walked out. He has not contacted me since, and I am worried that I will lose our friendship over this situation, but I feel he is being unreasonable. So please Reddit, am I the antagonist in this situation? If so, how can I approach it without escalating the conflict further? You're not the problem here. Honestly, your friend really needs a reality check. Long-distance relationships can seem perfect, especially when you're scared of commitment. I mean, it's so easy to get lost in that idealized version of things without dealing with the daily grind. You know, it's all about infatuation, and sometimes we just brush off who the other person really is. You did the tough thing by being honest with him. Sure, it might be sounded a bit harsh, but hey, sometimes the truth just stings. He might need to hit a wall before he really sees it clearly. If you want to keep the friendship, maybe circle back and show your concern for him instead of judging his choices. You could suggest that he ask her some real questions to figure out if she's genuinely compatible. Who knows? He might find out she's not the one, or maybe she really could be. Just be there for him when things inevitably go sideways. Aita for reporting my Suitemate for the 4th time. I keep reporting my college Suitemate, and here's why. My Suitemate left the bathroom in a hazardous state. This is probably the 6th time this year something like this has happened, but this one is by far the worst. Right now, she has left the bathroom trash can overflowing with used hygiene products, soiled tissues drenched, and other waste spilling onto the floor, all visibly soiled with blood. She has previously left used menstrual products on the floor, all soiled, and even on the walls. She regularly throws unwrapped, used tampons directly on top of an overflowing trash can. There are often stains left in the toilet bowl, and she never cleans them. To make things worse, she also discards food in the sink, such as spaghetti and ground beef, which clogs the drain and starts to rot. Because of this, bugs have started appearing from the drain. I have tried using Clorox to get rid of them, but they keep coming back. Currently, there is also brown human waste smeared on the wall next to the toilet bowl. This is alongside the overflowing trash can of fresh red waste. When it is humid, the bathroom smells overwhelmingly bad, like a mix of waste and decay, making it genuinely hard to be in there for more than a few minutes. I was gone for just 2 days, and when I returned, the bathroom looked like this. She also leaves fake eyelashes stuck to the walls, spills liquid soap all over the sink area, and leaves toothpaste residue to dry on the faucet without ever wiping it up. She has cleaned the bathroom maybe 5 times this entire year, and only after repeated pressure from the rest of us. She has lied about cleaning in the past because when you go in after she has cleaned, it looks and smells exactly the same. Whenever someone tries to respectfully talk to her about it, she raises her voice and becomes extremely defensive. We have informed the resident assistant multiple times, but nothing has been done. At this point, our bathroom cleaner has stopped servicing our suite entirely because of how unsanitary it is, which I honestly do not blame her for. None of us feel comfortable using this bathroom, and we are not sure what to do anymore. She is not going to clean this mess, and the rest of the people in our suite rightfully will not either. I am planning on reporting her again tomorrow, but am I wrong for that? You're not the bad guy here for reporting again, but honestly, it's pretty clear that just reporting isn't cutting it. This is the 4th time after all. You really need to document everything. Get some pictures as proof, because without them, the RAW might just suggest mediation again, and we both know that won't help. This situation sounds like a real mess, no joke. If the RAW doesn't act this time, you should definitely escalate it to her superior. It's gone on for way too long to just let it slide. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could even get a hazmat suit and deal with the mess yourself, but that's a bit extreme, right? Just keep pushing for a move until something changes. You deserve a better living situation for sure. Aita for confronting my partner's mom after feeling excluded from their family. I am a 20-year-old female and have been dating my boyfriend, who is also 20 years old, for over a year. From the beginning, I made a significant effort to connect with his family. I helped his mother with cleaning the house, cooking, and other tasks related to her work, and I genuinely enjoyed it. I even opened up to her emotionally, which is something I had never managed to do with my own father. She became a mother figure to me, especially since I live far from my own family. I frequently made desserts for their Sunday lunches, more often than I ever did for my own family. I wanted to feel included. However, over time, I began to notice that his parents did not make much effort to include me. They ignored my parents during visits and did not greet my father when he came over. Additionally, they made comments that seemed to minimize my relationship with their son. After a recent trip, I heard more dismissive comments and decided to distance myself to protect my peace. That is when his mother reached out to me, mostly asking about her son. I replied, explaining that I needed space because I felt unwelcome and like an outsider. Her response was to call me immature and mock me for being raised by nannies, suggesting that I should not speak about anyone else's upbringing. That response hurt deeply, especially since I have worked hard to be independent. I passed a federal exam at 17 years old, commuted 30 kilometers to study, came home at midnight, and woke up at 5 in the morning. The day after our message exchange, I went to her house to talk. She looked at me with disdain and said she had nothing to say to me, only to her son. She also told me not to stay there. I felt disposable after everything I had given, not only to my boyfriend, but to the entire family. Later, I discovered that she told my boyfriend that I was turning him against her, which is something I have never done. I encouraged him to return to school and to grow, yet I always seemed to end up as the villain. Within 24 hours, he claimed that things were resolved with his parents. I was skeptical. He called his father to confirm, and his father basically dismissed everything, stating that the only issue was that I arrived too late. Once again, all my feelings, as well as those of my parents, were invalidated. This led to another fight, and ultimately we broke up. Now he insists that the only problem was the time of day I showed up, but that feels like gaslighting to me. I feel as though my trust has been shattered. I am unsure if I should return to this relationship, as I am afraid it will never be stable due to how his parents treat me. Am I the antagonist for confronting his mother and standing up for myself after all of this? Honestly, it sounds like you're putting way too much pressure on yourself and this relationship. I mean, you're young. Trying to dive deep into his family dynamic after just a year of dating might not be the best move. Remember, you're dating him, not his folks. It's a big deal to focus on your own feelings too, rather than trying to mold yourself into their family. You can't force a connection or expect them to respond the way you want just because you're being nice. It's not about proving your worth through acts of service, that just leads to disappointment. If his family isn't welcoming, maybe it's time to step back and reconsider your approach. You deserve a relationship where your feelings matter just as much. Consider talking to someone about this, it could really help. Just take it easy and don't rush into anything that could leave you feeling some type of way later on. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.